I'm Belinda Sandor. Welcome to Lessons from the Cockpit. Hey everyone, welcome. Welcome to Lessons from the Cockpit. I'm Belinda Sandor. I am your host today, and I'm excited to be here. So come on in and let me know where you're coming in from. And when you do that, also tell me where you're watching the live stream. I would love to know that as well. So today we're going to talk about knowing your numbers. This is going to be a really important distinction when you're starting your virtual assistant business. And I know that for a lot of you, not knowing your numbers is the reason that you're not hitting your numbers, because you don't even know what they are. And I get it. Especially when we're starting out, the numbers are the scary part, right? They're definitely the scary part. So let's dive into this. And for those of you who are new, I'm Belinda Sandor, like I said, and I'm the founder of the VA Connection, where I coach and mentor established and aspiring virtual assistants. And Lessons from the Cockpit is an extension of that, where I teach every week, same bat time, same bat channel. So come on in and let me know who's here. Good. All right, so I want to give you a little history. So this is me and my daughter, Emily, in 2010 when I was just starting my VA business. And I was a few months shy of my 50th birthday, and I was not where I wanted to be. And I was a little surprised by it, because my life had been kind of clipping along, and I was in corporate for 17 years. I liked that. And then I went off and I started a business, and it failed. And it failed monetarily. And the result of me not looking at the numbers and not getting clear was I just kept thinking, this will be the difference. This will be the difference. This will be the difference. And the difference really couldn't be measured, and it couldn't be seen, because I wasn't looking at reality. And I know that for a lot of us, when we start a business, we do that. And so today I want to stop us in our tracks so that you know how many hours you need to bill, how much you need to charge, all the things to be successful. So here I am. My idea of turning my business around, I sold baby gifts online, and the store was called Blueberry Babies. And it's interesting, because my philosophy was, I'll just try harder. And I was like, I'll buy this, I'll sell that, I'll change this, I'll lower the price, I'll raise the price. It was like this ping pong ball, all over the place. And I wasn't getting really clear about measuring what was happening. I just kept thinking because see, here's the thing. Every month was a little bit better, but it was in terms of how much we sold, but it wasn't a little bit better in terms of the expenses and how much money I was spending to try to keep it all going. And so it's very deceiving. So completely off track, need to close that business. Just, for fun. On top of that, I have to sell my house because I have too much debt from the business. I'm getting divorced. I have to move. Everything is up in the air, and I have to figure out how to make money. And I don't want to go back to corporate. I do not want to get on the 39 bus anymore or take the Orange Line into Boston. Like, I do not want to do that. And so I started thinking about what are my skills and what do I like to do? And I've always liked helping people figure stuff out. I was a secretary back in the dark ages when they called us that. And I love that work. I found it very rewarding. And so I thought, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that. So I tried temping. And then I realized that the temp agency was taking a big portion of what I was earning. And in this case, in 2024, language, a temp agency is, it's an employment agency, but also there are things like Upwork and Fiverr, and ways that you can get business like that, but they're taking a piece of the pie. And so I decided I wanted the whole pie, and I leaned into getting clients myself. It was much more reliable. I was making more money. I could charge more, and I could really be I could be self-reliant, right? And Thankfully, I didn't know about Facebook groups because I know a lot of you are jumping up and down in Facebook groups trying to get work, and it's not going to be consistent. It's not going to be reliable. And what I teach you instead will absolutely work. So I started telling everybody I know. I hired a coach. I found a mentor, and I started doing a lot of mindset work. And I thought, okay, I just have to tell everyone I know, and I have to stop prospecting. I have to stop trying to figure out who's going to hire me. I have to stop being so strategic and just tell everybody. And that's what I did. So one morning I'm at the school bus stop. One of the dads says to me, "What's new?" I take a deep breath. I tell him what I'm doing. He hires me. He hired me within I don't have a very clear memory, but I remember his face changing. I remember him saying, "Can I meet you at the ice cream shop later today?" And then I remember I started working with him like immediately. And that was great because it was for probably 10 or 12 hours a week. So I was on my way, figuring it out, all the things. And I just kept going. And my second client I met in the buffet line of a wedding. My third client, my best friend, told me about someone that she knew that I never even heard of, even though we were best friends, one of her other friends who needed my help. And it just kept happening like that. It just kept happening like that. And that's how it does happen, right? So that's how it does happen. And so fast forward, I've been a virtual assistant since 2010. I have over 20,000 billable hours under my belt. I've worked with over 225 clients. And as a virtual assistant, over a 10-year period, I made more than $1 million. And you can do that too. You can absolutely do that too. And one of the things that was important for me to do this was looking at my numbers, really understanding where the money was coming from, how was I going to create predictable income, all the things. And I know that you all want to be able to do that as well. Okay. So here is a snapshot of actually my wedding anniversary is coming up. This is almost 3 years ago. It'll be 3 years on the 14th that Greg and I got married. We've been together since 2012. And these are our kids. These are our kids. David, who's a dad now as well, Charlie, Emily, Stephen, and Andy. And this was an amazing day. And I was able to turn my life around. I was able to handle my finances by looking at my numbers and getting clear about my business and doing the things that worked, And so the stress is, it used to be incredible. And now, we all have stress. But it's not from creditors calling me and people, on top of me and bosses demanding things. It's not like that at all. It's a nice pace. And this is helping. This house is helping. So I am sitting, I don't know if you can see the screen door right there on the porch, but that's where I'm sitting. That's my office now. And Greg and I realized the stream in January. Excuse me. We started moving down in January, and we became full-time residents of Virginia in April. And it's amazing. It's amazing how I could change as a virtual assistant starting in Boston. I lived on the third floor of a Victorian walk-up. I could look out the window and there was the sidewalk. Then I moved to suburbia, and now I'm in rural Virginia, and my business, it didn't impact my business at all. And so having an online business is so wonderful because it's portable. You can, take it wherever you go, and you can completely change your lifestyle without having to look for a job and, all those things. Right. All right. So let's dive into this whole concept of knowing your numbers. Okay. All right. So when I started my business, my goal was to replace my six-figure income. When I worked in corporate, I made, I think it was $104,000, and I wanted to replace that. So I chose my hourly rate based on that. My hourly, and that was about $50. And that didn't include, benefits and all that stuff. But I wanted to get comfortable with a number. Now, for some of you, maybe you've never made six figures before, and that's okay. It doesn't matter. It 100% doesn't matter. You can do it now. And I had a coach who encouraged me. I'd love to be that for you, and confirmed that clients would definitely pay me $50 an hour. And so I calculated that by charging $50 an hour for 40 hours a week that I would hit the mark. And the first year I was a virtual assistant, I made $70,000. And then, as I mentioned, for the next 10 years, I consistently made $100,000 or more. And I want to talk about why this worked. All right, so let me just see. I was going to show you a calculator. Let's keep going and then we'll see how that works. So there's a simple calculation that you need to do. So grab a pencil because I want you to write this down. It's a simple calculation, but it's critical. Now, you have to know about the money coming in and you have to know about the money coming out, but we're mostly today going to talk about the money coming in. So what I want you to write down is revenue equals hourly rate times billable hours. All right, revenue equals hourly rate times billable hours. And so here's what that means. If you want to make $30,000 a year and you want to charge $30 an hour, you need to know how many billable hours that equals, right? So you have to do that math and you can put it on an Excel spreadsheet and you can play with it. All right, well, what if I charge $40 an hour? What if I only billed $20 an hour? And that's what I wanted to show you. So let's see if I can do that. I'm going to stop my share for a minute and then I'm going to show you. Here we go. Okay. All right, so this is, hold on. Okay. All right, good. Okay, so this is a calculator that is in the template bank. It is also in VA School and the VIP Club. So if you belong to any of those, you have this, but it's also available in the template bank. So here, what you do is you change the numbers in these gray boxes and then it calculates your rate. So let's say you want to make $30,000 a year. Okay, and you're currently charging $15 an hour because I know some of you are doing that, and you want to work part-time for 20 hours and you want to work 50 hours, 50 weeks per year. So the current situation is you want to make 30,000, you're charging 15, you want to work, let's even say 30 hours a week, right? And then you want to work 50 weeks a year. You can see how this doesn't work immediately, right? So here's the numbers. In order to achieve this, you can't charge $15 an hour. You have to charge $20 an hour. And you need to work 40 hours a week, and you're going to need to work 66 weeks a year. So you can see that working that many weeks a year is going to be impossible because it's more weeks than there are. So by tweaking this formula and looking at it, you can really figure out how much you need to make. And so once I figured out how much I needed to make with the revenue calculator, it was then about tweaking the numbers until they made sense. And then I stopped really thinking about it in terms of money, and I started thinking about it in terms of billable hours. So here, for example, so let's say you're going to charge $30 an hour. Now you only need to bill 20 hours instead of 30. And you only need to work 33 weeks a year versus 50. So you can see by doubling a number, and 30 is a very reasonable amount of money to charge. You can charge way more than that as a virtual assistant. So I want you to I want you to think about that and make sure you know the numbers. So once I knew the number that I needed to hit, and tell me if you know your number in the chat. I would love to hear that. Then I got to work. Right. So now that I had this calculated, I was all about how am I going to bring in enough clients to hit that number of billable hours. And the thing is about that is, sometimes, well, I could wait till next week and, I could do this instead. I stopped doing that. I wanted to get as many billable hours as I could in a week, meaning being reasonable. So if you have a part-time job or a job and you want to bill 15 hours a week, do everything you can to get that 15 hours in. And if you have some project that's 2 hours and you think I'll take care of it Monday, but you have time, do it, right? Do it because you really want to build that muscle up for the 15 hours. And something we've been talking about in VA school recently is that if you do this math and you want to bill 15 or 20 hours a week in order to meet that revenue goal, start sitting in your seat that many hours, right? And work on your business, and then the client work will come, and then that will flip, right? But you definitely want to put yourself in your seat, because if you're not working on your business and you don't have all the clients you want, you're going to stay in that situation. It's just the way it is. So it's important to focus on the things that you know will bring the clients in during that time. Okay. And then the next thing is, and this is a big one. This is, George knows his number. Good for you. See, I minded my own business. So one of the reasons that my online business, Blueberry Babies, failed was I spent a significant amount of time looking at what other online baby gift websites were doing and comparing myself. And what happens when we compare ourselves? We feel bad, right? We feel bad. It's very rare that, you're going out to look for validation of what you're doing, and you find someone that's, in a worse place than you, and you think, oh, that's good. No, that's not what happens. You look at somebody else and you're like, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. They're so much better. They're so much far ahead. You got to knock that off. You got to knock that off. So, imposter syndrome is self-generated. It's self-generated. So if you're, suffering from imposter syndrome, you have to learn how to talk to yourself in a different way. And I want you to look at the success of others as proof that it can be done. It can be done. If someone's making, if you look at one of your classmates or friends or whoever, and they're making $50 an hour and they're crushing it, or $60 or $80 an hour. I have students that are making $85,000 an hour. That doesn't mean that they're better than you. What it means is that they took the steps to get there, which meant raising their pricing, billing more hours, spreading the word about their business, all of those things that we talk about all the time. That's all that means, that they did the reps, right? They did the reps. So definitely you have to stop a couple of things. One is comparing yourself to others, and the other is pick someone to follow. Okay. There's a lot of people training virtual assistants out there. Pick someone to follow. I hope that you'll choose me, because I would love to help you, but don't choose me and then look over here and look over here and look over here, because the information is going to conflict, and you're going to be spinning your wheels. And some VA trainers are like, you need a portfolio, you need a niche, you need this, you need that. I'm saying something completely different. So you have to decide what makes sense for you, and then go all in. Go all in and stop the scroll, right? Stop the scroll, stop Googling work from home. Find your person, and then listen to what they say and do the work. Okay. That's how you grow a successful business. Good. All right. Very exciting. So any questions or comments, I'd love to hear in the chat what you're thinking. If you know your number, and I'd also like to know, how this is resonating. The calculator is very valuable. You can find it in the template bank. You can also create one, because it really just gets down to revenue equals billable hours times hourly rate. And, in my experience, I have coached a lot of people, and before VA school, I did a lot of small group coaching, and people would tell me, I'm charging $70 an hour, and I'm, this is what's going to happen, and blah, blah, blah. And then I would come to find out that, yes, they were charging $70 an hour for their new clients, but they had other clients at $30 an hour that were taking, 75% of their time, and they were never able to switch. So that's why I don't want you to start off low. I don't want you to give your time away. No discounts, no nonprofit rates, all the things. It's your number, right? And Debbie says she knows her number. Good for you. Good. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me here today. We're going to have an exciting new training that we are going to kick off registration for probably on Thursday. It's called the VA. I have to look at my notes. We just invented this. We started inventing this on Sunday. The VA Business Launchpad, from idea to income. So we're going to have it's a 3-part training over 2 weeks. So you have plenty of time to tune in, watch the replays, do the work. And we're going to try a new format. I think it will work very well. And we're going to get you from idea, the idea of being a VA, to income as quickly as possible. Knowing your number is most important, says Nancy. That's right. Absolutely. Okay, good. So stay tuned for this new training that we're going to have. It's free. It's going to be on all the channels. It's going to be very exciting. And I can't wait to tell you all about it. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.